welcome back. Here are some squares I prepared earlier. So we have our 32 squares ready for the single-sized blanket. They're all like slightly different, but it doesn't matter. And so what we're going to do now is go and lay them out on Charlie's bed, and I'm going to show you all the different configurations. Then we're going to talk about how we're going to sew them together. Normally I would weave in these ends first, but I feel like I want to do that when the blanket's finished on this one. Don't know why, I just do. Hopefully we're going to use a mattress stitch to put it together, and then we've got that invisible seam and they can butt right up against each other. That's not my favorite thing to do, but I think it's going to look the best. Also, we've got an update on the cyclone. It's not coming for another full day. Today's Thursday. It was supposed to arrive tonight and early hours of Friday, but it's not supposed to arrive until midday Friday now. Possibly in the afternoon Friday, because it has slowed down. It's still coming in towards us between Brisbane and the Gold Coast. It's still intensity 2. The winds are picking up. The other day in my unicorn review video, I was sitting in this room and you could actually hear the wind howling. You can't hear it right now. We're getting some gusts. The gusts are only 50 k's, so we're supposed to get up to 150, but it could be more likely 120. 120 will blow down a street sign, so see how we go. We're only worried about the one tree out the front that we've got in case it falls on the house. I moved my car away in case it falls that way. That would probably be the best way it could fall, but it did go through the tornado and it was absolutely rock solid, didn't even move. My banana tree is probably going to come down, but yeah, in that little bit of wind we had the other day, one of the banana trees like snapped in half. So I'm expecting the other one to snap in half, but it's still alive and the bananas are still growing, so I'm hoping for that for my bananas, because I've had them for 5 years, and the first year that they flower and fruit is when we get a cyclone. However, I'd have to say it's probably fruiting because we're getting tropical kind of rain and stuff, so it makes sense that we'll get tropical conditions for a cyclone. So yeah, it's the only thing we're worried about. We don't think our windows will smash, but we'll see what happens. That's the only two things I'd be worried about, is that big tree coming down and our windows smashing. So we just take our girls out of that front room, and so they slept in our room last night because we didn't know what might happen overnight. There's been a cyclone, I believe it's Cyclone Tracy, that they thought wasn't going to hit the coast, and then it swung in and hit everyone overnight, and it was very devastating. So I didn't want anything to happen in the middle of the night and have to try and get them up and move them, or not know. So we just popped them in our bedroom, which is in the middle of the house. So got all my supplies. I'll show you my little stash, and then yeah, we'll get going and we'll get this blanket laid out. So this is what I'm doing. I'm crafting. My partner's been playing video games, the girls are just chilling out, and yeah, we'll just go into our room once the winds pick up. So yeah, I'll show you my little stash of food. I'm very proud of it. I cleaned out the backyard, I cleaned out the gutters, and yeah, then we'll get this blanket together. Also, I cleaned up my room a little bit. We can sit on the couch, or the dogs can sit here with me. Let's admire my pile of squares. They look so cool. Except for this one. Get in line. Okay, and then up here I cleaned out a shelf. Here's all my supplies and stuff. And so we have a box that I can just grab if we have to go into the bathroom, if things get hairy. So I've got all different things in here. We got I got tin tuna and bickies that we can eat. Everyone eats biscuits and chips. I got this from Aldi. It's really nice. It's called, it's just soup in a bag. You can microwave it. 2-minute noodles. Got a heap of these jellies that the girls love. Charlie loves eating seaweed. Mostly chippies. We've got cereal to eat up the milk if the power goes out. So yeah, mostly biscuits, tuna, that kind of thing. So yeah, there's my little prep. And of course I got bottled water. Okay, so we're in the girls' room and this is Charlie's single bed. So we're going to lay them out. I'm going to show you the single bed with the pillow on it, what size that is. And I'm going to show you the Boggy Creek size with the pillow. You'll see it's just like a little bit short. And then we're going to try a few different configurations. There we go. I'll put that there. And let's start down the foot of the bed. We're going to do the configuration that I think I will do, which is we're going to put this bigger pink in the middle and we're going to put them together. So you can see even though there's less of this than that one, it's still going to look good. And what we're going to get is a square. So put all those big light bits together and we get a square. And then so we need to match this one. See, that's the brighter one. We'll match that together. And then we'll match this to here. And the white will go to the white. And then we get this like X. And then we're going to get one more square over here. So this is 8 blocks, which was one full skein. You'll get this. So that's the configuration I think that I would like to use. Now we're going to try something else. Let's say all the squares, that bright pink, just faces like this. All facing in that top, well, our bottom left corner. You can do it that way. Oh, that one's right, and turn that one. Okay, and then we're going to get just stripes, blocks of stripes, and we'll get these kind of spots. Okay, we can also face this towards the center. And we'll get this smaller square with these on the outside. So I'll turn this around. There we go. So that's slightly different. And then we'll get these really like diamonds with these in the middle. So I'll set up, so 3 skeins is for Boggy Creek. So I'll show you that, what that looks like. I'll set it up. Okay, so that's the same pattern. And we ended up with the bright squares in the middle and on the outside edges. And this is the Boggy Creek size. You can see it's just short of the single bed. So our one's going to go right up to the pillow. There's also no border on it, so it is 33 inches this way and 50 inches. So you could put a very thin border around it. So I might just turn it so we get the brighter squares here and see what that looks like. Right, this is how we're looking with turned around. So we've got the darker squares in the middle and we've got even bright squares here. So I'm pretty sure this is the configuration that I want to go with. And then we'll look at the stripy one. We're still Boggy Creek size. Okay, in this configuration, we've turned all the squares to face the same way and we get this stripy effect. And we've got one more way that we can do. Right, here's our next configuration where we've made zigzags that go this way. Like that in every row, but we can actually do it this way too. So let's turn it so it goes the other way. All right, so here's how we look with our zigzags going lengthways. So what we're going to do now is put it back in our original configuration and we'll add the other 2 rows and you can see how big that is on a single bed. Then we'll talk about putting it together. Okay, so here is the full size blanket with the extra 2 rows, except I'm missing a square because I'm still making it, apparently. I forgot, I thought I finished them all. And then, so if we put the pillow on, That's a really good size blanket. It goes all the way to the foot of the bed, and we're going to put a border on it. But if you want to make the Boggy Creek size, you need to take those last two off because it's already 50 inches. So, right, let's talk about how we're going to assemble it. You assemble it row by row. So you probably want to set it out this way so you know what you're doing. And we're going to stitch up the edges first, and then we sew down a longer line. So for we're going to sew every row together along these edges, and then we'll get them together and we'll go down the lines. So you'll have one looks this way and then the other will turn towards it. So I would just lay it out and then put it together that way so you don't get confused. And yeah, we're going to use the mattress stitch, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, I put my first two squares together, and this is what I've come up with. So it's invisible on this side, which is what we wanted, and we wanted them to butt right up against each other. On this side, I've done just one strand, and it's basically a whip stitch. Now, the only thing is, I'll show you how I did it. We've got a little bit of separation there, but I still feel like it's firm. I don't think that's coming apart. So I'll show you how I did it. So we'll get our next two squares ready. And so what I think I'm going to do is put two squares together and weave in the ends, then do two squares, weave in the ends, and then join them here. So our next two squares need to go this way, and then this together like that. So which way up are we? That's my stitching. So then we need to stitch it on the other side so that it will be invisible. Okay, so then I've got my needle. We're using white, and what I did was I just got 2 lengths plus a tail. So 1 and then 2 of that. Boop. Thread that onto the needle. Okay, and then so for each block, sitting on a bed, on the edges we've got our plait, so we have like a lower loop and an upper loop, and what I'm trying to do is go through the upper loops to sew it together, and that way it's invisible on the other side. So we start over this side, and if we look, there's 2 loops there, so I'll just start in this upper loop. There's no real wrong or right. We're just going to try and get through whatever loops that we find and keep it so that it stays even. And then we're going to go through the upper loop on this side, which I think should be this one. And then we're going to leave this tail because we want to weave that in. Leave yourself a good tail. So pull that tight. And then a whip stitch is just from right to left. But we're just going to make sure our whip stitch is going to be on the back side, and then we're picking up just the upper loops. So then where we're going to go, there's an upper loop, there's one down the bottom, same here. And pull your tail through. Not the best camera work because I'm sitting on a bed. So yeah, just take your time to find the loops. Even this one we could go in here, even though, oh yeah, and then you could match it to this one. That's also an upper loop. Can we see? Pull it through this one here. Just make sure you're going under 2, and And then there's a good plait there that's easy to see. And so we're just going to sew all the way along. And just fudge it so that even like so on these ones, I'm just taking this bit, which is the side of the 3 half double crochet, and putting it into there. Yeah, just fudge it so that both your ends meet. That's all we need to do. Here. Yeah, we could take that and this. So yeah, just go all the way to the end, and then we're going to weave in these 2 ends, pull it tight so everything's tight, and then we're going to weave in our other ones, and then we will join it. We'll join out, we'll flip that over, and we'll join our 2 blocks here, and then we'll have a row, and we're going to do all the rows and join the rows in one big long length in exactly the same way. Okay, so I've been very busy yesterday, and I've sewn together these strips. This is the right way up, pretty sure. Yep, turned out pretty invisible. So I'm nearly onto my last strip, so I want to show you what it looks like. This is the size, and what we're going to do, how we made a strip was we got 2 blocks, and then I sewed up here. That didn't take long, probably 5 minutes. Then I wove in the end here, wove in the end there. I undid my knots, just pull them out, and I wove them in, and that took about 40 minutes. So I did that, and then I got 2 more blocks and we sewed them together. So then we sewed that together, wove in all the ends, and then we sewed down here. So it was like 40 minutes, and just 5 minutes to sew down there because all the ends have been done. Weave in, weave in. Then we have these strips. Once we have the strips, we are going to sew 2 of those together. We are putting this together like a quilt, and quilts are put together this way for ease of handling. So then we will sew down here, and we will make 4 of these big blocks. Once we have 4 of those, we will sew 2 of these together here, same on the other side, and then we'll do one last middle seam. So I'll get that done to where we've got these bigger blocks with the 8 squares, and then I'll show you the next step. So I'm sewing together my 2 long strips. I've just laid them on the table, and we just need to make sure that these corners meet together for each block, so keep it all even. All right, so we have our 4 lots of 8 blocks put together. There they are. If you're doing Boggy Creek, you'll have 3. So if you're doing Boggy Creek, you will put these 2 together, you will sew down here, and then you'll come back and you'll put this one on and sew it there. But if you're doing the full size blanket like me, you will sew here and sew here to make these 2 larger blocks, and then we'll have 1 more seam to do down the middle. So I'm going to do all of that work before I come back. So here, here, and then sew the 2 larger blocks. This just makes it easy to handle. And then once we've done that, we'll finish up the video there, and we'll do the border in a separate video. Okay, we did it. It's all sewn together. This made one little mistake here where my stitching's on the upside, but because I've held it double with the white, you can't really tell. See, that's supposed to be on the back side where you actually stitch it. But yeah, we're all together now. I'm going to finish this video here, but on my blanket I'm going to be doing a border. So there'll be another video coming out on how I did my border. Otherwise, you can see it just about completely covers the single bed. We'll pop the pillow on. So it's a really good size. And it is quite heavy. It's a nice, heavy, warm blanket. So I'll see you guys soon with the border video. Otherwise, if you make one of these blankets, I would love to see it. So please comment in these videos that you've made one, or you can tag me on Instagram. I'll leave up my Instagram handle. I would love to see what you make, and if you make it in different colorways. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you like what you see. And check out these other videos.